Hello folks, how are y'all getting on? I hope you're keeping fine and I hope you're keeping well. I can't seem to get live at a moment, it's just not working, so if Meta's doing an update, whatever, I'll just do a pre-recorded one and I'll try and keep it as a continued stream of consciousness, because I know sometimes folks when I go live it can go all over the place. It's a bit like being inside my head, it's what it's like being bipolar, but there is a pointless one. It's been a bit of a rough day. I'm not sure when I'll post this one, but I lost my pal Lenny AD. He'd have been 80 this year. A very dear friend, if you saw I post, got me out of a very dark place at a time in my life when I really could have done with a friend, and he was a friend that got me through darkness. So Leonard, wherever you are, this one's for you, my pal. I love you and I'm going to miss you. And what this is all about, there's two things basically. It's realising throughout this whole campaign, one of the greatest and most powerful gifts that anybody can share on this entire worldwide planet, wherever you're from, race, colour, creed, ethnicity, whatever, is a gift of your time and listening. Most everyone that has reached out this page over the last 3 years, and we're going to keep going folks, it's never going to stop. This is for life now, this is what I want to do, this is what I need to do for the rest of my life, is fight for this, if you'll let me. Because somebody has to, folks, it's just simply not good enough, and that's getting to the point I'm driving at. We're here and we can help support each other, and that's a fantastic thing, and I'll always be eternally grateful for it. It's the hardest part about facing any of the demons of the soul, especially the ones that are inside here. It's thinking that you're alone, it's thinking that no one's listening, or worse, if they are listening, that they simply don't care. And that is a big problem, folks. And one that I'm driving at, because as I say, it's been a dark day, but I've also had a wonderful conversation with a very dear friend, no names, just confidentiality folks, a very dear friend that has come through their own dark night of the soul, and they are moving through to the other side of it now, and they're from Caithness, so this is a Caithness campaign, and it's what it relates to. It hurts that they went, and I'm sorry, there should not be like a case of like, there should not be multiple cases of these failures, and this is what pisses me off the most, and sorry, bit of rough language coming in now. They went through, like, there's just far too many people basically simply have had the exact same experience of the lacking Caithness mental health system. Now, what am I driving at? Well, as I try my best to keep saying, no two individuals are the same, so when it comes to mental illness, depression is the umbrella under which the symptoms are cast from, you know, and as I say, it's all just ways to categorize, you know, it's not a definition upon you. Bipolar is the state of my mind, bipolar affective disorder. I'm not Stephen who's bipolar, I'm Stephen with bipolar. There's a difference. But you can't treat bipolar the same way that you treat anxiety. It's all entirely unique to the individual. Unique to the individual. What am I pissed off about? Now obviously I've got to be very careful mentioning medications and whatever, because there's so many different kinds of ones, so I'm just going to use paracetamol, okay, because that's universally available. Nearly every person I've spoke to in this campaign is now, what, 2,800 strong, I think, according to the last check I had on the count. Every single person, and I'm sorry, no two individuals, and I know my good Polly Nuge is going to watch, I shouldn't apologise there, because that's not something for apologising for. I'm working on that this year, folks. I am, I promise. How the heck, and I'll just throw a rough number out, can you meet 100 people as a doctor, nurse, medical professional with depression and treat them all exactly the same way? You can't. Because a human being is not a particular type and model of car. It's not a make and type of washing machine. We are organic machines, but as individuals, no two are the same. And I don't understand, so if anyone more learned, more understanding, more experienced than me can explain why we are into the 23rd year of the 21st century, and the approach to every single individual who has come through, and I can only speak for Caithness, everyone who's came through the mental health team that I have spoken to have all been given paracetamol for their illness. Doesn't work like that, folks. And the other strange one that seems to be a common occurrence, and this may get me banned from Facebook for a little while, but there's no point in having a campaign if you don't say the awkward things that people don't want to hear. Why is the attitude when the paracetamol is not working, instead of looking at a different type of medicine, it's just turn it up? I don't know where that logic comes from, folks, and it is very disturbing that individuals say and discuss at length, and I'm very grateful that people trust to open up and speak to me, that they know themselves it's not working, it's altering their mind, it's altering their personality, it's making them eat too much, it's not making them eat enough. There's, as I say, no two people the same, side effects completely different to every individual. As I say, for me, paracetamol didn't work because I have a different kind of depression, and if I hadn't had to speak to 10 different doctors with no permanent psychiatrist and none of them were speaking to each other, instead of maybe having, I think I had a note here, so excuse me a moment. So there is a trail of thought to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 separate medications in 2 years. Now, doesn't sound right, does it? You wouldn't put your car through 13 different tests to find out what was wrong with it. You'd trust a very good mechanic to get to the core of the problem and say that you need to do X and do Y, so I will provide Z. How the heck and why is the mental health system of the NHS treating all depressions as the same? Treating us all as the same? And then when paracetamol doesn't work, and you try to get another appointment to speak to somebody, oh, they've left, and we're having to hire somebody new. And you're going to have to go through all this all over again. And doesn't it get exhausting, folks? You know, as again, patients don't want to have to keep breaking. Oh, do you want to see how I broke my leg? Oh, that's a nasty fracture there. Oh, we'll pop it back in a splint. I know how it happened now. Sounds rather stupid, doesn't it? You wouldn't break the leg to see how it was broken. You would look in the notes and, oh, it was a compound fracture or whatever. Why do we need to keep opening our wounds against? That's what, you know, depression, mental health, trauma and distress is. It is the reopening psychologically of a traumatic emotional wound. That cannot be good for a patient to constantly keep going back to the source of their pain. Ripping open the scar and then letting it heal back up again, that's going to get very tiring, that's going to get very exhausting, that'll get emotionally devastating. And let's have a think. Maybe people will go, you know what, I'm sick of having to tell the same story 1,000 times to a million different people. I'm just going to stop going. And then you get people who don't go to see their doctors. They think, well, what's the point? They're not listening. I don't have the answers, folks, and I hope, as much as is possible, I'm keeping this sort of driven on that path. Why is this acceptable? Why is nobody looking at what is going on here in Caithness? And I'm talking the absolute powers that be. I'm just Stephen Sheffield, sitting in his room, talking to his phone. All I've got is the experience of suffering this bloody god-awful system, because it doesn't work. I'm sick every time that there's a problem highlighted. And not that the problem is highlighted, I'm always grateful for the problem to be highlighted, and grateful to be given the voice to speak. But every time there's a flaw pointed out of this screwed up bloody system, some fickin' high-hegian, oh no, we've thrown plenty of money at it, we've got a 100% success rate, and yada fucking yada blah. Shut it! I'm sick of it! Does me up to here! If I was in a place of work and told I wasn't doing my job, I'd be told to pull my bloody socks up here getting fired, chap. But oh no, you can't criticise the system, it must work because big person in suits says so. That might be a bit childish, but tough. I don't know how else to get across to them. It makes me so bloody mad, folks, and I know that, you know, when you're suffering, you shouldn't add to things to make yourself worse. That's not a good thing, and that's the balance I've got to try and keep my mind on here. I'm no idiot with answers. I'm somebody looking for them, asking for help, saying, please, I need help too. All these people need help. 2,800 plus people have put their voice to this cause that we need help. Why are you, person who's listening to this that possibly could be in a position of power, why are you ignoring us? We're good enough for your NC500, we're good enough for your wind turbines, we're good enough for everything else that benefits them, but there is no benefit to us, the people, we the people who elected them, possibly, to serve us. Where is the service to us? You pay your taxes, you get sod all back for it. You have to have your road tax to get your car on a road. Your roads aren't fit to drive on. We are giving them everything, and we are getting sweet FA back. Nothing except suffering and misery and precious lost souls. So easy to put it in an article in the paper. Oh, another drug addict has lost their life to suicide. Oh, how tragic. Aye, they weep for 5 minutes and then it's tomorrow's chip paper. That's somebody's child. Somebody who was loved, who was let down and needed help. So easy to paint them all as addicts and da-da-da, and they're isolated. I'm sick of hearing that rubbish too. I'm using modern technology to reach out to everybody, so we're not isolated. I'd love to see Caithness at the forefront of everything for the 21st century. Infrastructure, medicine, politics, science. It'd be amazing. This wee corner of a very big planet, of which we're a small part of the planet. But there's a lot of us, there's plenty of us folks. We deserve to be here. We've got a right to life. You've got a right to be here. What do we have to do, folks, to get them to pull their finger out? To finally overhaul this goddamn outdated, outmoded structure that doesn't work anymore, folks. It doesn't, as I say. Coming back to the original point, hate to tell you, not every car runs on petrol. Some of them run on diesel, and if you put diesel in a petrol car and vice versa, the car goes well, you keep thinking that every person that comes to you with depression, a mental illness, a mental affective disorder, paracetamol will work. It doesn't. It doesn't, folk. You need to sit down, you need to get a good summation on the person, listen to them, discuss it at length. So say, I wonder if at times, a reason that I upset the Facebook algorithm is they don't expect folk to actually know what it's like to have depression. Maybe they think we're all thick. And it's easy to just go, oh, they're all nutters, just gibbering, blah, 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 blah. They didn't expect that somebody can actually say, no, I know what's going on in my heart and soul. And it destroys me sometimes speaking about this horrific darkness that brings other people to tears, because it brings me to a lot worse. And it would just be great if I could pick up a phone or go to my doctors and speak to somebody about this and get the bloody treatment that I fucking well deserve, instead of being treated like an afterthought on somebody else's bit of paper that they can't process at the end of the day before they bugger off and leave us and quit for another job. And as I say, where does it come from? Well, it was highlighted in a paper not that long ago. Stop centralisation. It slaughtered Caithness. It just cut our throat, ear to ear. And I know there's a few folk, individuals that like to hear me shut up about centralisation. I'm not going to. Because until the problem is solved, I don't see why I should shut up about the problem. These certain individuals that think that we should just shut up about it now, these high hegians know what's going on and they will then come back to us and fix it. Oh, how great and blessed we are that the Master above will care for us. It doesn't work like that, folks. And as I say, that's why I knee-jerk against a lot of these people that say you can't say these things. Well, why not? Why can't I badmouth the failings of NHS Island? Why can't I badmouth that everything seems to go down till Inverness and beyond and we never get a bit of way back? Why can't we? It's not about gurning or being upset or being a victim. It's not about any of that, folks. It should be that in the 21st century, for all that we're just blasted with what, who we should be and how we should think and what we should do, that we're being told to be kind by folks that are the least kind people on earth, that really don't care as long as they're alright, check. Because that's how it feels like. You walk outside and, as I say, not 30 years ago, 34 for me this year, my mum could go to that hospital and give birth safely. Nobody's giving birth up here. They're being treated like animals. Our mothers are being treated like animals. And they're not even guaranteed an ambulance. It's usually the back of their own car or whatever vehicle can get here. And well done to folks that are offering the use of their own vehicles to take these mothers down. There's been a lot of you folks that are just now doing that. Well done. You're a heroes of this community. No folk at the top that's taking a bloody wage for doing bugger all. It's the locals that's keeping this community going. But yeah, we're treating our mums like animals. Running and bumping down on roads that aren't fit for purpose. And what's it going to take? Is it going to take a mum going off in an ambulance? And I've got to be very careful what I say here, but let's just say a tragic circumstance for all persons involved, because the road structure's not fit, the hospitals aren't fit, the mental health system's not fit, and an absolute horrific tragedy happens. Are we really going to let it get to that point before we go, oh, we really should have done something about that? No! 3 years on the march come this July that I've been opening my mouth and saying, give some help. chat have been long on a march saying, "Give some help." Caithness Road's Recovery are on the march saying, "Give some help." Well, this is me just adding my voice back to that. Come on! Powers that be, I care not of your political party affiliation. It does not bother me in the slightest. You've got one thing in common, you're human. Alright? And as humans, look after each other, look after us. Then I let it get to the point where Wick and Caithness and Thurso and all the rest of us is just a ruination upon Scotland. A deserted place where once things were great and now are just gone and lost. Because that's where it's going to go, folks. Folks are just going to say, what the hell am I going to go up here for? For what? To be left behind? To be abandoned? To see everything disappearing away and nothing coming back? No, it's not fair, folks. I've got to be careful for the algorithm. I didn't want to go too long in this one. As I say, yes, I've been up, yes, I've been doing. It's not always positive messages, folks. Everything that is shared will be positive. Because it's about being uplifting and looking out for each other. But when I do this, I kind of just sit here and go, everything's fine, everything's rosy. I've just heard from another young soul that they've been fucking well let down by this system again. Does nobody feel shame anymore? I'd be bloody ashamed if this was on my track record. Biggest drug deaths in Britain, I think that's Scotland, or is it Europe, one of the two. A horrendously high suicide rate. No jobs. Addiction through the fucking roof. Come on, politicians, what are you proud of? Which one do you want to claim for, or do you want to blame somebody else for? That's what happens when we play a blame game, folks. You know, somebody else just moves it around the page and, somebody just needs to stand up and say, look, we're all fucking responsible for this. We all did this. On our watch, this happened. On our watch, we're going to make it better. Because there's only two solutions to it, folks. It keeps getting worse, and the absolute worst outcome happens. Or one of yous that I hope is listening to listen. You've given it time. Tell him, please listen the whole way through, folks. There's a reason that I make them this long. It's not just for a short 3-minute hit. There's content here that needs to be listened to. People whose stories need to be heard. It's not just about me firing this up and liking the sound of my own voice. I would really just love one day that No More Lost Souls is sharing positive stories of hope, because we're in a world that you don't need me shouting to say help. Because it would be great, as I say, this isn't about having an endless campaign and doing this forever. One day, I would like to get looked after too. And not give this up, that's not what it's about. I will campaign for mental health all the rest of my life. I would like to stop fighting so fucking hard to get what we deserve because we're human beings. It's got nothing to do with geographical location or I don't give a rat's ass what any fucking report says, okay? People are being let down, people are suffering. That's all you need to know. Sort it out. We don't need any more commissions, we don't need any more bleeding hearts. So we came up and listened to this story and we were so affected and then went back and did fuck all because it was a good PR excuse. We need them to come up, roll their bloody sleeves up, do a shift in that hospital and see what it's like. Go and help the police out when they're dealing with somebody like me going off a hide. And see what it's like. Because they haven't been exposed to it anywhere near enough, folks. It's just a story somewhere else in the ether until they're exposed to the true, hard, brutal face of the mental health crisis in Caithness. It's just going to continue to get worse. But we're not going to end it on a negative, folks. Because there's plenty of fucking negatives for me to upset about. There's plenty to be positive about as well. What I'm positive about is that we're still here, we're still going. We're fighting for those that we've lost. We've never forgotten them. Bench is still there for everybody to go and have a think and hold on and feel safe and secure. We've got people from all around the world, folks, all around the world here reaching out to you and each other to say, please hold on, that you're loved. It's an illness you're facing. It's not a judgmental sentence. It might not happen in lifetimes, folks, but we have started pulling down the bricks of the bullshit stigma. And that's something that you should all be very proud of. That you can go and have a conversation now and say, I'm struggling today, Paul. You know, it was a rough weekend, can I talk to you? And that's for everybody. Any soul, anywhere, that there's just a wall broken down and you can speak to somebody freely without stigma and judgment. So that's the biggest part of the campaign, removing stigma around mental health. That begins with getting better services for that mental health. So, Folks, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for listening. I've just realised the sort of minute mark that I've hit now. That's nearly half an hour, so it's a long one, but I really do appreciate it, folks. I've met some of the best people in my life through this campaign. It's an absolute privilege. There will be dark days. There will be days you might not see me for a while, but there's just too much for me to believe in and hold on to myself now. I'm not going to let the demons win. I can't. There's too much involved. There's too much at stake. And ultimately, I've got to do this. It's what I'm here for. It's what I need to do. This is the purpose of my life. If I never get another regular, normal job again, I don't care. This is a purpose, and a purpose is a lot more than a job. So, okay, that's enough now. Souls, everywhere, anywhere, my dear friends, folkies, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I really, truly do hope from the bottom of my heart that you're staying safe, that you're staying well. Please look after yourselves and look after each other. And one day, a promise will be kept and there'll be no more lost souls. I love you folks. Good night, thank you, and take care.